What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord Dark Professor Dark Joker with this week's video. This week, we're going to go over a theory regarding Force Psychosis, a disease that exists within the Star Wars universe, first introduced in Fate of the Jedi, and I believe it also played a role in the Millennium Falcon novel. So here's what's known about it. It was created by Abeloth, and so a lot of state Jedi that were stationed near the mall during the Yuuzhan Vong War were afflicted. And those who were afflicted, they showed knowledge of advanced force techniques they never learned, and they eventually went insane from like paranoia. And also basically a lot of it was due to Abeloth's influence. And then Ben Skywalker, when he was like a baby, he was with those Jedi. He never showed any symptoms. Now that was likely due to his small connection with the Force at that time. But yeah, it caused this whole disease caused a lot of problems for the Galactic Alliance during the Fate of the Jedi series. Now, here's my theory regarding all of it. So, I think the reason Ben never showed symptoms that one, he's descended from Anakin Skywalker, who I think whose biological makeup is similar to the Wills, even though he's a human technically. And also due to a small connection with the Force during time of infection, so Ben was inflicted, I think, but his small connection with Force and his lineage involving Anakin Skywalker allowed his body to adjust. So he didn't necessarily any symptoms that did appear, they wouldn't they wouldn't be as severe because his body adjusted to it. And I think the disease can still be a role for any of the victims who were alive after Abeloth's eventual death. But due to Abeloth being dead, her influence is not prominent, so the symptoms would be less severe, but they can still happen. And if someone who's afflicted like passes the disease on to a child, so basically if someone like conceived a child after the affliction, the Force Psychosis would pass on to the kid, but the kid would have a less severe version due to the kid's body being more adjusted to it. One example of this, I believe, is Cade Skywalker, who is a descendant of Ben. And I think that's why he was able to use that resurrection technique in the Legacy comics. And so now I think, at least someone who, even if it's a mild version, the end result is going insane. But if it's a less severe version, it takes longer, and the road to it is not as severe. So K would eventually, if he lived long enough, would go insane. But it would be a smoother road to that. And another version I think of this is in the Disney timeline with Rey. I think she inherited from her parents, like possibly while her parents were on the run from, the Emperor. Maybe they came across them all and became afflicted with Force Psychosis. Now, since neither of them, to my knowledge, were Force sensitive, none of them ever showed symptoms. So, but Rey, since she was Force sensitive, she inherited it, but she was born with it, her body adjusted to it, and she had a mild version, but she did learn, and that would explain why she learned all those advanced Force techniques with no training whatsoever. Like, it would actually be an explanation. Like, not just, oh, she's Rey. Like, I was like, oh, she's descended from the Emperor. Yeah, yeah, that's not how it works. That's not how the Force works. No, no, this is, and and also it would explain the Dark Ray thing. So now a lot of people, obviously, Dark Ray is believed to be like, Sidious possessing her, which is still a possibility, which I think that could still be the case. And Force Psychosis could give, if Sidious' spirit is inside Ray, the Force Psychosis could give him an opening to like take over her body. and form and use, since she decides to take the Skywalker name, maybe that's him acting through her to use the Skywalker name as a way to use that family, his name as a way to, form an army, you know, gather forces and form like a Skywalker empire, basically perverting the Skywalker name, because that is totally something Sidious would do. And so, yeah, this is in Disney's timeline, and yeah, and I'm just bringing it up. I don't, and I'm just bringing up Disney because of that. I mostly care about the EU stuff, but I'm just bringing up Disney because it this would explain Ray, even though Disney's too dumb to use it. Like they would not want to use it, but it is an actual explanation for how Ray's overpowered. And that's it. So, did y'all like this video? Do you agree with Force Psychosis? Do you agree with what I've said about it? Do you think like it just doesn't exist at all after Abeloth's dead? Do you think like symptoms don't change? Like if it exists, like do you think they still say severe even if Abeloth's not around to affect anything? And do you think that Kate Skywalker did not get it and he will use resurrection technique through some other way? And do you think Ben Skywalker just never had it, as most of the characters in Fate Jedi assumed? And do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree? Whatever. You can put all that in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And look forward to the next video.